So I went there to talk about fleet and what we are doing with Internet of Things. That is a very, very important buzzword lately, and is a reality that is changing the world. And talking about how we're gonna try to solve the Internet of Things, revolution and enable it with satellites and nano satellites. So this is what we do with fleet. So I went there and discussed about the future. Space is complicated and is it's one of probably the most complicated topic. And when you mix fleet and space and nano satellites with Internet of Things, that is an industrial revolution, there is a lot to talk about. What I was trying to explain to everyone is, at the beginning, one important thing, that we are building the future, and the future is complicated, and you cannot always predict it. So what do? There is, if you think about Internet of Things, everyone wants Internet of Things to happen, but it's not there yet. So when you are in a high-tech company and you're building this future, how do you do it? So what I'm trying to explain to everyone is that most of the people and most of the space entrepreneur like that, I was talking about Elon Musk a little bit, they actually create the future and they go with the flow and they build their visions, and then everything will come around them. So this is what I tried to explain that day. The idea was to create a constellation of nanosatellites. So nanosatellites are very small satellites, as big as a shoebox, very high tech. So instead of having one big satellite, like big eagle, you got a swarm of bees. You create a kind of digital nervous system around Earth to create a very low-cost internet for things. In the past 20 more years, we have created internet infrastructure for us, for people, so that we can use our iPhone, we can have our TVs and so forth. But the world is changing. We will rely on things way more. Everything will be connected around us. So the idea is, how can we allow things to be connected when things actually move? Cars, they go from one city to the other, shipping containers go from one ocean to the other. How do you do it? And then, you need space. So we decided, let's launch 100 nanosatellites and create this internet net for the new industrial revolution. It's an interesting question. We live in a center, in a moment of time that I think is absolutely fascinating. I don't know if many people realize what's happening now. A hybrid world is exactly what we are living at the moment. How I see hybrid world is that many technologies and many ideas come together to leapfrog. The change is happening, and technologies get together to allow the change to happen. Exactly what happened, many years ago when people started discovering the Americas. It sounds silly, but this is what happened. Technologies got together and the world leapfrogged. And I think we are exactly in the same moment. I love the fact that they called that conference that way. It's very relevant, very fascinating. Space is changing. Space used to be for government and big companies spending billions of dollars, not really accessible to an Italian girl of 30 years old, right? But now it's completely different. The cost of access to space is low. We can build satellites for less than $1 million, launch them for even less. So it's open to everyone to experiment. So space now is the revolution that happened to phones. 10, 20 years ago in computers. Everything is getting little, everything is getting high-tech, and everyone can use it. So what it means is that in the next 5 to 10 years, we will use space way more than the terrestrial infrastructure to solve massive issues. Agriculture improvements, water efficiency, weather forecasting. But space is more than that, because we know that now is the new colonization phase. So we are going to Mars, we are gonna conquer other planets, and this is exactly the time when this is gonna happen. And I discussed this at the conference. The conference came just after Elon Musk came to Adelaide talking about the new rocket is designing to go to Mars. And I wanted to talk about this because it's important that the world knows that technologies now, they are so advanced to allow us to commercialize space and go to Mars for business and fun. So yeah, it's quite exciting. Adelaide is becoming, I'm always make this joke and I say the center of the universe. I came here 4 years ago and I've seen a massive change in this state. The state is focusing now in very high-tech technologies, it's focusing on space and energy. There was not a better year for have something like that, like Hybrid World in Adelaide. I'm very fascinated about what's happening in the state. The state went through a bit of a crisis, for everything was happening with the automotive environment and other industry. So decided, okay, we need to just jump directly in the future, okay? And they are doing it. So Hybrid World was exactly the example. Let's get together the best minds and the best brains working at the best technologies in the future to show that it is happening here. So I'm not surprised that it was in Adelaide, not at all.